Hi, y'all. Have you ever put a lot of time and effort into a project? Maybe like the wooden puzzle that we did, only to have it get broken. Maybe it gets knocked off the table, or a younger sibling accidentally steps on it and crushes it to bits. What do you do with it then? Are you the type of person to gather up the pieces, get the super glue, and painstakingly reassemble it? Or would you simply grab it and huck it into the garbage? Now, I gotta admit, I'm more the latter type. I don't have a lot of patience for things when they get broken, especially if I don't think they should have gotten damaged to begin with. But I'm eternally grateful that God is the former type. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with the story of creation and the fall, but it's incredible to me, absolutely mind-boggling to me, that God, after He makes this amazing world and He entrusts it to us, and we go and mess it up and we rebel against Him, rather than walking away from us and letting us stew in the consequences that we had reaped, He actually launches a rescue plan. He actually cares for us so much that He sends Jesus to die for us, even though we were a mess. The Apostle Paul puts it this way in Romans chapter 5, verses 6 through 8. You see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous man, though for a good man, some might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. This is amazing. God loves us that much. And it's not like we were starting to earn His grace. It's not like we had somehow began to pull ourselves up by the bootstrap and get things right, and God was like, yeah, I see they're trying really hard. I'll give them a second chance. No, Paul says we were powerless. When Jesus died for us, we were ungodly. Now, Paul recognizes that occasionally people sacrifice themselves for one another, for causes, for people they really look up to. But that wasn't the case for us. We hadn't merited any sort of sacrifice from God. In fact, he says that it was while we were still sinners that Christ died for us. And I think all too often we forget just how repugnant sin is to God, how He can't stand it or tolerate it. Now, this is a silly illustration, but hopefully it'll get you thinking. A few weeks ago, my family got a puppy. And I'd had dogs when I was a kid. But somehow over the years, I'd forgotten just how much dog poop stinks. In fact, I'm really glad that it's winter right now, so when the dog goes outside to pee and poop, the poop freezes before I clean it up, and I don't have to smell it. But imagine with me something crazy got into the dog's mind, and after making a big steaming pile of poo, it goes and rolls around on it, just coats itself all over. What in the world would I do? Come summer, or if it had happened in the summertime, I would consider getting a hose and just hosing it off. That would be reasonable. Gross, but reasonable. But what would I do now? Would I be willing to go to that dog, grab it, pick it up, and carry it upstairs to the bathtub so I could clean it off? I don't know how I would do that. I'm glad it hasn't happened. But that's only an inkling of what God did for us. He loved us so much that when we were a stinky, filthy mess, He died for us. Not because we deserved it, but because He loved us. So as you go through life, there's going to be lots of times where things go sideways, and it's easy to wonder, does God love me? Please don't forget this. Don't forget how God showed us the extent of His love by dying for us even when we were a disaster and so much worse. Remember, God loves you, and you're precious to Him. God bless, and bye for now.